New Lands, by Charles Hoyfort, Part 1, Chapter 8G. But then occurred something that is badly, but protectively, explained in most astronomical works. Foucault interfered with the deliciousness of those 95,298,260 miles. One may read many books that mention this subject, and one will always read that Foucault, the physicist, by an independent method, or by an absolutely independent method, disagreed somewhat. The disagreement is paraded so that one has the impression of painstaking, independent scientists not utterly slavishly supporting one another, but at the same time keeping well over the 90 million mark, and so essentially agreeing, after all. But we find that there was no independence in Foucault's experiments. We come across the same old disgusting connivance, or the same amiable complacence, perhaps. See Clarke's History of Astronomy, page 230. We learn that astronomers, to explain oscillations of the sun, had decided that the sun must be, not 95,298,260 miles away, but about 91 million. To oblige them, perhaps, or innocently, never having heard of them, perhaps, though for 10 years they had been announcing that a new determination was needed, Foucault found that the velocity of light is less than had been necessary to suppose, when the sun was supposed to be about 95 million miles away, and he found the velocity to be exactly what it should be, supposing the sun to be 91 million miles away. Then it was that the astronomers announced, not that they had cut down the distance of the sun because of observations upon solar oscillations, but because they had been very much impressed by the independent observations upon the velocity of light, by Foucault, the physicist. This squirm occurred at the meeting of the Royal Astronomical Society, February 1864. There would have to be more squirms. If, then, the distance across this Earth's orbit was found to be less than Delambre had supposed, somebody would have to find that light comes from the satellites of Jupiter a little slower than Delambre had proved. Whereupon Glasenapp found that the time is 16 minutes and 40 seconds, which is what he should, or ought to, find. Whereupon, there would have to be readjustment of Encke's calculations of distance of Sun upon worthless observations upon transits of Venus. And whereupon again, Newcomb went over the very same observations by which Encke had compelled agreement with the dogmas of his day, and Newcomb calculated, as was required, that the distance agreed with Foucault's reduction. Whether, in the first place, Encke ever did calculate, as he said he did, or not, his determination was mere agreement with Laplace's in the 7th book of Mécanique Céleste. Of course he said that he had calculated independently, because his method was by triangulation, and Laplace's was the gravitational.